And some ways we can do that is by checking the organization that published it, the National Home Education Research Institute, Research Facts on Homeschooling. We check who wrote it, Brian Ray, PhD, we can trust him. We check when it was written, only a couple months ago, actually not even 2 months ago, it was published. If something is published more than 5 years ago, it's probably not the best resource to use. You can, but you want to be cautious. And if it was published more than 10 years ago, it's not credible. You don't want to use it.
Yeah.
Now, important to note, this is the National Home Education Research Institute. So all they do is research homeschooling. They kind of believe that homeschooling is the best option. So keep that in mind as we look at how they present this information. I always like to start by looking at this graph. Analyze this chart. What does it tell you?
It basically just illustrates to your mind that homeschooling has had a really humongous growth in popularity.
Yes, exactly.
Well, in the U.S. that is.
Yes, it is in the U.S. But we look here, what was happening in 2020 that maybe made this spike way up?
Yeah, the pandemic.
Exactly. So sometimes we homeschool because of what's going on in our society or what's going on in our culture, or we'll talk about that here. Real quick, skim this paragraph. How many people were homeschooled in the United States in 2021 to 2022?
3.1 million.
Exactly.
Homeschool students to be scoring 23 to 42 percentile points above Black public school students.
So that's interesting. There's one thing here, though. Whether homeschool parents were ever certified teachers is not notably related to their children's academic achievement. I read a study, though, that suggested that kids whose parents have very structured homeschooling days, like you do this, then this, then this, they did better than people who were just kind of free and open and didn't have super structured days. Pros and cons of public education. This comes from the Public Education Partners. So just like that first site that we looked at about homeschooling, where it might have a bias towards homeschool, this might have a bias towards public school. So real quick, we don't need to read everything. Just go ahead and read the bolded words under advantages of public education.
Accessibility, varied curriculum, qualified teachers, cost. School for children under 5 runs $5.31 an hour. My son's Ford school, by contrast, breaks down to $11 an hour. Gear like thermal underwear, proper footwear, and full-body rain suits can get expensive too, though some programs offer loaner or rental items, and secondhand purchases are encouraged.
Good. So what is the main message of this paragraph? Can you summarize that?
Money. It is much more expensive.
Probably the most expensive one, it seems like. And it's not, it's geared toward, like they said, those white middle class families, not as much as like poorer families or people who belong to minority groups. Could we put in the middle that they still all cost money?
Yeah, of course.
They all cost money, but one is more cost efficient. Here, I'll go ahead and make my font better size. They all cost money. What else? I mean, what are some, extremely tuned to white people, very true. It is more expensive, absolutely. If we went straight to the thesis, our intro would only be 3 sentences long. So let's try to make a little bit more context. Like why you're writing this.
All types of education have their, let's say, traits.
Maybe we should say unique traits.
Unique traits, yeah. Unique.
Unique traits. Oh, you could totally tell me this is a bad idea and you don't want to write like this, but you could say something like how it's different for everyone. Like some people do better in forest schools than in homeschooling, and some in public school do better than homeschooling, right? all types of education have their unique traits, and it's about like finding the best one for you. Or
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I'm not to write it for you. I'm sorry, but as soon as you said that, I'm like, wait, we can finish the sentence.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that each learner is different.
Ooh, that each learner is different. Good, and I think we could transition maybe into the thesis statement.
Yeah, that.
Then we need to give the prescription. What is the prescription? We need to know this so that we can make the best decision for ourselves. And then I'll be able to give more feedback on your writing. When I read it, I'll have a gauge of where your skills are at so we can keep building on them.
Yeah.
All that. All right.